It's the free agency preview, Brandon. It's our first ever free agency preview. We started this show when the regular season started, so everybody had already signed. I think
Yeah, we were
only
a little
Blake
late to
Snell hadn't signed, if I believe, by the
No,
time that we
him and
started this show.
Montgomery had not, because we started.
Okay, that's what it was. All right, so it was
Yeah.
those two. It was the Boar 4 that were the
Yeah.
Boar 2, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're entering free agency here. We have all the big names, but let's just go through them and give our hot takes here. Let's start with number 1.
No, actually, you know
Juan
what, Jess? Why don't we
What?
start? You brought up a guy, Mr. Blake Snell.
Okay, sure.
I'd
Go
like
for
to
it.
start with him.
Okay.
His agent, Scott Boras, had a great one-liner. He said the Snelling salts have worn off of last year's lack of spending, and they can appreciate his talent. I forget what else he said. It was such good cringe. It was just fucking
Yeah.
dude.
We haven't gotten to Pete Alonso yet. Let's go.
Poor
Yeah,
Pete,
'cause
dude.
that one was even
Fuck,
worse.
It was
Yeah.
better, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so where do you think he goes?
But Snell really showed his worth right after a shaky start. Him and Montgomery really showed us that the preseason matters, spring training matters, and getting your paces in, as they say, is really paramount to getting a good start in this league. But yeah, he went 0-3 with a 9.51 in 6 starts, and in July came back in July and went 5-0 with a 1.23 ERA and 14 starts. I think there's a few teams that really need him, and the first one I want to call out is the Boston Red Sox. Like, how much sense does that make? He would fit. He'd just be at the top of that rotation. Obviously, they need some offense.
Yeah.
But for a team that's desperate to make a splash, I think he makes a lot of sense. But also, another one, a reconnection out in old San Diego.
Oh, wow.
It really felt like San Diego was one pitcher away, right, from being able to put the Dodgers down. The loss of Joe Musgrove was tough. Who knows what you're going to be able to get out of him next year, if anything at all. And a guy like Snell that, has proven he can go deep all year into the postseason and has the ability on his best days to, give you a damn near perfect game, at least for 7.
Right, at least for like 5 to 6 innings.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
going to. He's going to. He might max out around there. I like the Boston Red Sox shout. I do. I like that a lot. I think they are definitely 100% a team to watch. The problem that I have with Snell is I think he's a guy that, once again, we're going to have to wait on a little bit to see how the market plays out for Sasaki, for Corbin Burnes, and for Max Fried. We have to see the market play out for those guys because those 3 guys are, I think, going to be prioritized over Snell, fairly or unfairly. Whatever you think about Max Fried compared to Blake Snell and Roki Sasaki, who's never pitched a major league game before, whether it's fair or not, Snell does have a little bit of like a stigma around him that he can't go deep in games because he walks a lot of guys. He throws a lot of pitches because he pitches away from contact. He prioritizes strikeouts. He prioritizes walks over hits so that he can get more strikeouts. And that means that he doesn't go very deep into games a lot. He has a lot of 5-inning games where he throws 100 pitches. And it's tough to give a guy like that a 4-year, $100 million deal. It's tough to do it. So I think that teams like the Mets are definitely a team to watch in that regard because if they don't get
I do like
a Corbin Burnes or if they're unable to keep Sean Manaea, because I think they're going to be in on Burnes. I think they're going to be in on Sasaki. We know they're going to be in on Soto, but they need more frontline starting pitching. I do think the Mets are a team to watch once the dominoes fall with Corbin Burnes and Max Fried.
Yeah.
And Sasaki too.
So where do you think he goes? Just if you got to pick one, where do you think Snell goes?
I mean, I'm looking at this article. I like the Rangers. That's interesting to me because I do think they want to compete still under that Corey Seager contract, and I feel like that's a contract that they can afford, where they're not giving like an 7-year deal to like because I don't think Fried or Burnes are going to want to go there. So I do think they're going to have to fall in with that. And with a guy like Snell, I think that's going to be their best option. And I think that they'd be willing to spend the money on a guy like Snell. I do think they're willing to spend money.
Yeah, so. You did get me interested with that Mets. I really do like that for him. But I'm gonna stick with Red Sox. Another guy we were just talking about, Corbin Burnes. Obviously got traded from Milwaukee to Baltimore in the offseason. Everybody thought that Milwaukee was punting. They ended up going pole to pole on the year, fucking run the NL Central.
Amazing.
Only to get knocked out by the red-hot Mets. Jesse.
And it's funny, it wouldn't have affected their playoff outcome either because they pitched so well in that series.
Right.
It wouldn't have made a difference.
It was a Devin Williams blow up in the elimination game. But yeah, I think he's gonna get traded too. But we can talk about that another time. Corbin Burnes, dude, where do you think he's going? And do you think he gets 200 plus?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's gonna get a 6 or 7 year deal. Is my guess, around the 220 range. If it's 7, maybe 180. If it's 6, I don't know. I'm not. This is not my fucking job. If you guys don't like my assessment, I don't blame you. I'm just telling you, it's not my job. This one's interesting because I do think the Mets are also going to be in on him too, and I do think the Mets are an amazing fit for Corbin Burnes. I'm only saying Blake Snell to the Mets if they don't get Corbin Burnes, and I think there's a chance that they don't. This is tough. I think the Red Sox are going to make an offer to Corbin Burnes. This is an interesting one, and I'm a little bit confused. Like, I'm not 100% sure, because I think that the Dodgers could also be in on Corbin Burnes. If Sasaki blows up in their face, he's from Bakersfield. The Sasaki thing could blow up in their face. He could end up going to San Diego or the Cubs or something.
Okay.
They might not want to give out that kind of money to Max Fried. They might not want to give out that money to Max Fried. We know that they're in on big starting pitchers. I don't think it's very likely that the Dodgers would, but I do think they're going to be in on him. Overall, I'm going to pick that he goes to the Mets as well.
Ooh.
I think the Mets are going to make a big splash. Big splash.
I do like that. I feel like I like Corbin Burnes more to the Mets than I like Snell.
Agreed. Oh yeah, of course. I agree with that. Yeah.
But I think you're onto something. I do think the Mets are going to be after him pretty hard. You know who my dark horse is the San Francisco Giants. They got Buster Posey at the helm now. Or not the helm, but, I think he took over baseball operations for Farhan Zaidi. And I think they're looking to make a splash. And I think establishing...
And he's from Bakersfield.
Yeah. Establishing that battery is going to be important. And you got Logan Webb. You got Corbin Burnes. You got one of the best 1-2 punches in baseball right there. And now you can fill out the lineup with some bats, I think there is some room for them. I think they will be actually very active in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. They got a lot of money in San Francisco, and that's an organization that's used to winning. And they've been in neutral for the last decade, right?
Yeah.
They haven't had a clear direction. Yeah, they had that one breakout season under Gabe Kapler where they won the NL West. They won, 103 games that year or something crazy, 104 games?
Oh, no, it was 107. The Dodgers won 106.
That's right. It was something insane like that.
Yeah.
My point is, I think they're looking to make a splash, and a Corbin Burnes feels like a San Francisco move to me. I don't know. That's my dark horse pick.
Cubs, too, I think, are a dark horse pick. I think the Cubs could be in on Burnes. I don't think they want to spend a lot of money. I think they'd be more willing to spend on Sasaki, obviously, because he's so cheap.
Yeah.
But I think that I do think that they would be in on Burnes. I think in terms of dark horses, I don't think it's going to happen. But in terms of if we're going to go dark horse pick, Cubs.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on the Mets, though. I think the Mets need him. They need
It makes a lot of sense.
They need their clear ace, and he would fit nice at the top. And yeah, dude, you fill it out with a Mania, and you get a couple other guys. It's a rotation. It's a good rotation.
Yeah, if they sign Burnes, they're not signing Snell 100%. So if the Mets sign Burnes, where does Snell go? Oh, you said Red Sox.
Red Sox, baby.
You said Red Sox. Yeah, there you go. Then he goes to the Red Sox.
Right? See what I mean? There was another one I wanted to get your opinion on before we got to that big one. So here's one that I don't find interesting real quick. Alex Bregman. He's going to stay with Houston, right? I don't think anybody really wants him. Do you really think he's going to go to Detroit? I don't think. They just got out. They're getting out from under Javi. You know what I mean? I don't think they want to saddle themselves with another aging star, to be honest. I think
there is the AJ Hinch thing in Detroit. He would reunite with AJ Hinch.
They are
Does
thieves
he want
together.
That stench on him. Here's one. I do have one. Toronto Blue Jays. That's a potential fit for Alex Bregman. That's a team that they have been trying to spend money. I'm not saying that they're always good at spending money, but they've been desperately trying to do it. You have George Springer there, so a former teammate of his. You have Vladdy and Bo, who I think if there was one team that I would want to give a redo on the 2024 season, it would be the Toronto Blue Jays. Because the second half, Vladimir Guerrero versus the first half, Vladimir Guerrero are two different players.
Literally,
Vladdy was fucking awesome in the second half. Awesome. And I think that you put a guy like Bregman in there, it makes that. I think that it's a little bit of a desperation play to sign Bregman, only because that's a lot of right-handed bats. He's going to be on the wrong side of 30 pretty quickly, but it makes sense. If there was a team that was willing to overpay on Alex Bregman, I think that the Blue Jays would be one of them.
I gotta disagree. And I could give you two words to explain my point, and that's George Springer. He was a bust of a signing for Toronto. I don't think the Blue Jays have fully digested that bad taste. Maybe they got the leadership, maybe they got a good clubhouse presence, but they got barely a 700 OPS guy. Hasn't been the same since the old Bang Bang extravaganza out in Houston. Don't believe me, look up his stats. But I don't think they are going to touch any Houston goods, not guys from their, development anyways. But I do agree with you that they're going to spend some dough. And I think that they could pivot to another big bat. I think they saw Teoscar Hernandez shining and go, man, we got to get a guy like that again. We let him go. Anthony Santander. You'd look good over in
I could see
Toronto.
that. Santander, also potentially teams like the Royals would make a lot of sense for Santander because they would be in his price range. And a guy like that can hit 40 homers. He's going to hit 230, but he'll hit 40 homers for you. That's a team on the come up. That would make a lot of sense to put him around Bobby Witt. I would like that one a lot. But I like that. Santander to the Blue Jays, that's interesting.
Yeah. And lastly, before we get to the big fish, what do you think about old Max Fried? Where do you think he's going?
Okay, so I consider Max Fried kind of a big fish here. I think that there's some argument here that there might be some teams that would prioritize a guy like Max Fried over a guy like Corbin Burnes, and that's not a knock on Corbin Burnes. Just this is a lefty, they're hard to come by.
Champion.
He's a guy that's been proven that he can. Burnes can throw a lot of innings too, obviously, but Fried, there might be some injury concerns. This one is so weird to me because I think he wants to go to the Dodgers, in his heart of hearts, because he's an LA kid. He was out partying with the Dodgers on with Jack Flaherty and God, who else was it? They were all partying for with the Dodgers. Max Fried was there, so a lot of people started speculating that he's going to go there. Yeah, he was literally somebody photographed him at a valet.
Yeah, no, Fried and what was the other buddy that played with Flaherty?
And Giolito. They all pitched together at Harvard Westlake.
Yeah, and I saw Fried and Giolito were at Dodger Stadium to watch Flaherty pitch. And, I guess they did it when Fried was in the World Series. They'd went out and watched him
Exactly.
pitch and shit. Like, that's cool. That's super rad. Where do you
So
think
Max
he's going,
Fried,
dude?
it's an interesting one because I would say like people are ruling out the Dodgers a lot. I think that he's definitely in play for the Dodgers. It's like the Dodgers are in play on all these starting pitchers. Brandon Gomes and Friedman have said that they want frontline starting pitching. So it really all depends on what happens with Sasaki here. That's going to determine a lot of this. Padres are definitely a team to watch for Max Fried.
Yep.
They are 100%. They are 100% going to try to sweep this Ohtani dynasty out from under us in any way that they can. They have to. Follow it up. Musgrove is getting older. Darvish is getting older. They're going to need somebody to sort of carry the torch in that post-Darvish era for this starting pitching staff. And, who knows? Are they going to re-sign Dylan Cease when he becomes a free agent after next season?
So.
I don't think so either. I think Max Fried makes a lot of sense for San Diego. He's also close to home. I think that's definitely a team to watch here. And again, I'm going to throw it out there: Cubs. I think that they're gonna try to get a starting pitcher. So I could see that happening. But if I'm being realistic, I think it's like four or five teams that are going to be in on all of these starting pitchers. It's going to be Mets, Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers, Padres.
Phillies are going to be in.
There's like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I
think so Baltimore will be more active than we suspect as well. But
yeah, but I think that they'll make like one splash,
Totally.
So,
but that leads the big kahuna, dude. 25-year-old Juan Soto.
Wait, who are you? What about you for Fried? Before we move on, Fried.
Oh,
where
yeah.
did you go?
Where I really think he goes, honestly, I think he goes with the Phillies, dude. I think he fucking goes to the rival Phillies. I think they make him an offer. I think he goes, look what we got going. We got Bryce. You know what I mean? They're going to have Schwarbers coming off the books here pretty soon. They're going to be freeing up some space. Get a veteran arm up there with Wheeler. I mean, dude, that's a nasty rotation, dude. You throw Fried in there.
I think this might be the one place where I've detracted from you here. I think that I just don't see him signing in Philly after playing in the NL East for that long. I think I think he'd more likely go to the Mets.
Braves are going to insult him and let him go. And then that's where the Phillies are going to be able to go, we can give you that fuck.
Well, that's why he might go to the Mets.
Fuck. Maybe. I don't think that's how to play either.
Hold on. My cat is...
Cats, dude. I mean,
all right, let's do it.
He's a cat boy. Come on, cat boy.
Here we go.
No,
this is the big one. This is the big one.
Juan Soto.
Where do we think this guy goes?
I mean, he's got to go. Do you want to say it together at the same time? All right.
Are we going to say the same team?
Let's see. Juan Soto, this offseason, must sign with the 3, 2, 1 Mets.
Dodgers. No, I'm joking. I was going to say Yankees. I
agree. I agree that he has to sign. Like, the Yankees fucking need him because I don't think they make the playoffs without him. But I feel like if the Mets miss on Juan Soto, that this will be like the first, I don't want to say like failure of Stephen Cohen's tenure because there's been a few hiccups. But like I feel like Mets fans have really been like, no, it's all leading towards getting Soto and fucking Lindor together. Like, it'll be all right. Like, later, Pete, like, if we got fucking Lindor, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But on the flip side of that, it would be devastating for the Yankees to lose the World Series, to get just this media shitstorm on you. You can't play defense. You're all fucking losers. You're no good. Everybody's ugly. Fat Joe sucks. And now you lost Juan Soto. Like, fuck.
Oh, dude. If the Yankees don't re-sign Juan Soto, it's going to be serious problems for them. I mean,
Well, you touched
They
on
were
earlier how the Dodgers are how their larger play has been like revealed, right? Like they're not here to win a World Series. They're not here to take over baseball. They're here to take over a continent. You know, they want to be the most popular team in sports. I think they want to be like a fucking,
they
they
want
want to
to
take the mantle from the Yankees of being that like
yes.
most valuable franchise in sports,
100%. And honestly, like people are saying that the Dodgers are going to be. I know I keep saying this, like they
Diamond.
will be in on Juan Soto. I don't see it. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's a
However,
good fit.
whatever you may think is that like Friedman and them, they like to target guys when they're young. They only want to sign you to like a long-term deal if like you're young enough that it makes sense. Like Otani and Mookie were like exceptions to the rule, but like Freddie, they got him on like a 6-year deal when he was
Kind of a
32.
sweetheart deal.
Yeah, like kind of a great deal. Like Juan Soto, I do think the Dodgers are going to be in on him, but I think ultimately it's just going to be driving the price up. I think it's going to be Mets or Yankees.
I do want to throw the
personally
Giants in
want
there
to
again. I do think the Giants are going to throw a lot of money at
Sure.
Soto, and I really think they might knock the Yankees out of contention because I think they'll offer more, and then I think Cohen will ultimately just go, fuck it, let's get it done. Here's the extra
It's a tougher
25
park.
mil.
It's a tougher park for Soto to play
It is.
in San
Yeah.
Francisco. And who needs him more, the Mets or Yankees? I think they need him the same. I think that if the Yankees are
think the
unable to
Mets
keep
want him
Soto,
more.
yeah, well, I think if the Yankees are unable to keep Soto, it's a colossal failure that we're going to see chaos in Yankee land. We're going to see chaos because it's a massive deal for them. I mean, Aaron Judge is 32, 33 years old. Garrett Cole's like 34, 35 years old now. Like they are running out of time with this version of the Yankees. It's a big problem. Like I'm not saying we're going to start seeing like Judge trade scenarios, but I am saying we're going to start seeing that discussion taking place where people are going to start panicking. I think the Yankees are going to find a way to get it done, but like I don't think it's going to be because they outbid the Mets. I think the Mets are going to keep outbidding them, and I think no matter what happens, it's going to be just like a choice, like which team do you want to play for? And I just kind of feel like he's going to have more opportunity to have like a greater legacy with the Yankees than he would with the Mets. I just think that's what it comes down to is like if you can win a World Series with the Yankees, your legacy is just.
Let me ask you this, because this was the little caveat to all these players signing with an NL team. Do you think there's any choice to maybe wanting to avoid the Dodgers and go, you know what? I'll stick to an AL team like the Yankees, a powerhouse who's going to give me these perennial opportunities to get to the playoffs, but I'll have an easier path to actually get to the World Series because I won't have to beat the Dodgers. Let the Padres deal with it, fucking whatever. Like, I'll go to the Yankees and fucking I'll see you for fucking Game 7, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. I do think that happens like in the NBA a lot. I know that like with LeBron James, there were teams, there are players that would go sign when he was with the Heat or with the Cavs. People would go sign with like teams in the West so that they could avoid having to go through that gauntlet.
I believe they call that the Mayweather defense.
Yeah, exactly right. So I do think there's like an element of that, but I would say baseball is it's just such a crapshoot when you get to October, man. It doesn't matter. I don't know, man. Like I really don't know. Like I think it's going to be super interesting. I hope whatever happens, I hope it's really painful for both teams.
Yeah,
I hope it's just going to be like a real painful scenario.
So what was your final decision though? You think he's going Yankees?
I think Yankees, but I'm also like this is my. I'm not 100% sure on it, to be honest. Like, this is going to be a tough one for Yankee fans. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow if they can't keep him. Like, and I think there's a chance the Mets are going to just outbid no matter what. So
yeah, I think in order of likelihood, it is third place Giants, second place Yankees, first place got to be the Mets, dude. They overperformed this year. I think they got a little taste of that that fervor. What oh man, what a
so
fucking
you actually
October Mets feels like.
You raise an interesting point. Maybe Stevie Cohen and the Mets have a strategy where they're going to say, hey, we're going to sign somebody big right off the bat before we get to Soto. Like if they could somehow get like a Corbin Burnes off the board in like the next like 3 or 4 weeks, then Soto might start looking at the Yankees like, I don't know. Maybe maybe it's a little better over there
Like that
in
meme,
Queens.
just
Yeah, exactly.
Guy,
Yeah, he's looking at the girl walking by. Exactly. Yeah, that might be the case. So,
man,
Stevie might have to do a little bit of finagling, early dealings, so to speak.
He'll sell a couple Bitcoin, dude. He'll be all right. But Jeff, that's how they play it in the Deferred Collusion game, dude.
Let's. We're gonna do another episode. We'll do a few more free agents. We'll react to free agent signings. I do want to talk a little about Pete Alonso, so maybe on like a next episode we can talk about him and where he goes.